So this is your existing site as is. I've chosen a very small resolution, very worst case, smallest device, smallest reasonable device that I can see right now. As you can see, it's just way zoomed out. It's possible for the user to manually resize this to hold their device horizontally. Navigation readability gets a little bit better. It could be a lot better, and you run the risk of some users getting disenchanted with it and moving on to another site. So now we start considering the different directions that we could go as I make changes to your website. I'm an advocate for making slow changes to your site so it doesn't interrupt any current users that have seen your site and come back to your site, any returning customers that you have. And then as those customers relate your site to others, word of mouth, so to speak, that they relate a site that new folks are going to be able to identify and say, yeah, this is the site that Joe was talking to me about. This is a very simple change that I can make to your website. It tells the browser to focus on a particular aspect. You'll notice this is the same resolution base as I showed you before, but it just focuses on the menu structure. It knows what to zoom in on, rather than try to zoom in, rather than just stay zoomed out. So it doesn't affect the appearance of the site on the larger devices, on the PCs, on the tablets at all. It just, on these smaller devices, it just gives the browsers something to shoot at, so to speak. And what it is, we'll add a menu item that is for a mobile friendly site, and we'll just put a disclaimer that people can use that, mobile users can use that, because we're in transition. Who isn't in transition now? Transition is going to last for months at this point. So I think it's something that's realistic. How long we stay here is going to be dependent. 2 months ago I thought we'd be here for a little while longer. Now the transition may go fairly quickly once we look at some designs. And this brings us to the kind of the second part. The second purpose of this exercise here is now we'll start to consider what your new site will look like. In the short term, we can put up a mobile friendly site that people can get contact information from, your name from, a little bit about what you do, and we can kind of work to that towards what the final site will look like when it comes up in the browser from the very beginning. Folks won't have to manually select this option once we get you into the new site. So for this next step, I've changed the reference point on you here. We're now looking at how this site looks on a PC. It's a test development site. I'm going to send you links once I get some feedback from you that this video has made some kind of impact and is understood. I'll send you the links for all these, and you can actually go through all these yourself. I think it's important that you kick the tires and you test drive these things and see how you feel about them. Feel free to get some feedback from your friends, relatives, associates, and neighbors, and see, on their devices, and see what maybe there's going to be. I expect there's going to be some things that you like and some things that you like less. So here we are. Let me give you a whirlwind tour through these different designs. What you're going to see is that they're all basically on the smaller devices. They're all going to kind of look the same after a while. So we really don't need to get caught up in the details of each one. Also, let's not get caught up in any visual anomalies or things that don't look right, missing information, wrong telephone numbers, wrong email addresses, um, size, color of things, and where things are located. Really, pretty much the designs right now. I want to show you how they look on at the different resolution on the different devices. Obviously, I'm in a development environment, so I can do that. It's not really fair to the design, so you're going to see some things that aren't right. I'll try to point them out to you just to not be concerned about them. The really thing that's really going to hang the sites together is how they look um, on the smaller devices, and then how they resize to like a PC. Because you got some people that, your telephone essentially becomes your smartphone actually becomes your electronic business card at this point. So you're going to show people your site, word of mouth, people are going to show your sites, and then somebody's going to go check it out at home on a different size device, and it's going to look different. You want to get a continuity between the sites. Really, the major factor between the changing resolutions is the navigation. You kind of want the navigation to kind of stay the same if at all possible, because people will remember that, whether menus are on the top, on the bottom, on the side, in the middle, however way, and that's all your preferential thing as far as where you want and how you want the site to be. Having said that, once you see all the designs, I mean, this is by all means a la carte, and by all means, however way what your preferences are. So if something looks good in design 6 and you just say, oh, I really want to have that as part of design 1, that's fine and okay. But for the time being, maybe let's take each one of these separately to see what they look like. Start off with design 1. This is typically how it will look on a wider resolution device like a PC or a tablet. We have the side navigation. I really do like, I'll point out some things, just some obvious things as we go through these. I really do like your address and your contact information up near the top. Looks like the email address is missing here. And I do kind of want to keep this as concise as possible. On the smaller devices, it's going to be a long, I can show you how this resizes to a smaller device. A similar navigation, it's a little bit too small, that's not right. And let me just do a refresh so it kind of gets fair. So, so we have the navigation here to go to the different pages. Also, another disclaimer: not all these pages are present for all sites, and some are not. In fact, I don't think any of the services are there. Got some photo galleries, got some about us screens, but just as examples of how to navigate. So if you get on a smaller device like this, your contact information all the way at the bottom is awful lot of scrolling to go through, which I think it should be more kind of more pop, be more at the top, be more of a popping thing at this site. So we have the top navigation here that kind of reduces and kind of goes in this direction. And then you see all the information on your site here. I've also taken some of the references, some of the reviews that you had that were all on the services pages, which I didn't do. I think they make a great end to the scrolling down. They kind of answer the question in the user's mind of what is all of this about? What does all this mean to me? I think it's just a nice ending. Again, I can only plead that you would consider this element as on the live site itself. But that's up to you as far as when you want this. Also, we can cycle these things certainly every month, I mean, every week, every day is going to be a little bit too much, but we'll see what direction we want to go so that these vary and these are changeable so they look fresh and they look like live comments. So this is what the site is going to look like on smaller resolution devices, and people will never see this transition so much, but they will see all of a sudden, this may be the device that they're using. So this is the site that they're going to see, but you can see some of the elements are here in navigation, similar to what they saw on the phone device, and then also how things kind of spread out themselves for the site itself. So that's design 1. Let's go to design. These are design numbers, are no arbitrary numbers at this point, really don't mean a whole lot. Just a way for me to mentally separate them and kind of develop them and work with them. This is another different design again. Contact information up at the top. This gets a little, there's not a lot of information that can be put up here. So the less the better. We may also want to, there's also, I believe, you can't see it, there's a contact button that's going to show up here. But again, ignore some visual anomalies here, a little bit too much space on here. These question marks, typos on my part. Again, you got your basic site, all your information here. Now the navigation in this site, this is kind of a universal menu here that folks will click on, and it'll drop down, and then this is the navigation of the site. They kind of get this sidebar navigation here, and I'll show you a photo gallery. They can choose to go to a photo gallery, and it goes to the photo gallery. Menu goes away, and it's back up. This is your potentially your new photo gallery. I didn't show this in design one, but again, pretty much going to look the same on a different design. The big thing is just to be comfortable with this navigation, or not be comfortable with the navigation. Maybe it doesn't work for you. A couple things with a photo gallery here. I want to embed your logo, your address into some areas here, so people just get a reminder of who you are, how to contact you. You can annotate. I think annotation, maybe some of these photos would be great. You know, hey, great product, great reviews on this from all installations. I think it's something to consider. Looks like some debug information here. And again, as we look at these like on a smaller resolution device, again, everything pretty much lines up in a column. Point out to this design, when the screen resolution gets so small that we can't have the contact information, get a little arrow thing. People can look for the contact information immediately if they want it. They can get it. It's at the top. Looks like there's some visual anomaly here, some extra space here, can clean that up. And then obviously this is all the photo gallery images that they would have for this design. I think I got something. Okay, I think I'm just at a page that doesn't exist. Let me see if I got. Okay, so this is we go back to a larger resolution screen if I can get this. Oh, I don't have the window quite like I like it, but if I get this, if I can get this maybe super big, I can show you what happens on the PCs, at least in the window that I do have. On a PCs on the larger screen, what's going to happen is the sidebar, the side menu is always there, and then all your content is over on the right. I think it's a pretty neat design. I kind of like this, but I don't want to bias you at this point as to one design or another. So, but that's just the way this would look on a full PC screen. Unfortunately, I don't have this environment set up to show you this full screen just yet. Didn't anticipate that. So let's go back to another design. This is design 5. This has a very simple navigation scheme, two lines up at the top, fixed menu up at the top, contact information on one side, site navigation on the other. Really nice, simple navigation scheme. Again, similar to what you've seen before. Looks like some empty spaces here. Again, some visual anomalies. That's where my job begins. That's where my fun begins. So I can take care of that. Again, a little reference down at the bottom. We could go. We just jump to a photo gallery on this. Oh, okay, no photo gallery on that one. Thought there was one other one, maybe an About Us page. No, I guess not. Okay, just a top home page as to what it might look like. Let me see if I can. Oh, just resize this so we can see when it gets small on the lower resolution devices screens. The navigation jumps down to 2 lines. So, but remains the same, and it's always there. That's so this screen space is always taken up by these elements. Like I said, it comes down to your preference as to what you would like. Let's take a look at these next designs are both very similar. You have in this design, we just have a menu up at the top, and the thing about this menu is that this is a little little risky, but I think okay in your case because you don't have a lot of you don't have a lot of pages on your site. Is this menu actually scrolls horizontally? People can click on it and hopefully get some kind of indication. I moved to a page by mistake. Hopefully some kind of indication that there are more items to look at on this. But you can see it's not so bad that I don't think we could probably squeeze most of your items in here. And then also you can also make the decision as we could just go with a two-line menu up here. Again, this is a fixed menu. Hopefully you like did a little bit different, something different with your swirls. Again, not a lot of information up here. Contact information readily available if folks want to take a look at it and take up the screen space to do that. And again, similar pages as in other devices. Thought maybe get lucky with a photo gallery here. No, don't look like one on this one. Thought we had one. Try the about us. No, I guess no other pages on this one to show you. And then on the larger devices, when it gets to the bigger screens, we get some extra space over here that we could do something with. We could put a graphic, we could put something else, maybe some contact information up there. The visual anomaly here, as this does get larger, there's some empty space here. I need to just shift things up a little bit, and not so much white space. Looks like a lot of gaps here I can fill in and close up, make it look a little bit neater. But generally with this design, this is design 6. It's just basically a top menu navigation, top menu, fixed navigation, one line. And as you can see, as it spreads out, folks get all their options, and we can spread these options out so that they take up more space and take up most of the area as well. And the last one I want to show you really quick is just the same type of menu scheme, only it's fixed down at the bottom. So again, we'll go to the small devices. Looks like this is a little chunky. Takes up a little bit too much space down here. I can clean that up again, move it down a little bit some more. Contact information, like I said, I like the contact information at the top. We can certainly move that around on different pages. And again, just the scrolling of this and how it looks on the lower resolution devices, and then on the bigger screens, we can just resize it. People, just to let you know, I'm doing this in a development environment. People are not going to see this change in your site. Some of the websites are changed more dramatically than others. This really doesn't change all that much. So people are never going to see this, but what they are going to see is they are going to see the connection. They're going to say, hey, I saw this great site, and this guy was checking it out, and it had navigation at the bottom of the screen. And so they're going to go home. If they go home on and watch it on a larger size, and all of a sudden the navigation is on the side, and it looks a little different, colors are different, they may look at it and they may say, yeah, maybe this isn't the right site. Maybe the guy was showing me a different site. So, you want to have that continuity in between the low resolution, how your site looks low resolution, to how it looks high resolution, because you may notice it more. Hopefully we can add some things here to your website at some point that is going to maybe help you do your job and help you and Deb communicate. I've got some plans, I've got some ideas and some things I can throw at you when we get to that point. Congratulations, you made it. Wanted to give you something else to look at in case you got tired of looking at Uplifts websites. Although I could look at them and talk about them all night long. Glad I got this in under 20 minutes. I'm going to wait for you to acknowledge this. I'm going to send you the links to everything that you've seen here, but I want to wait for you to acknowledge it just so that you've seen this. I think it was important for you to see some of this as just a baseline, so we start off with, so rather than just send you the links and assume that you're seeing what I want you to see. Hopefully something here resonates with you. Hopefully there's a connection here that we can build on to go forward with. I'm going to have a few definite things that I'm going to want to discuss with you that I may want to see you do on your website as it is now before I do start making changes. And also, as you check out the links that I do send you, check out some of the other pages, because I'm not standing still here. I may start working on some of the other pages, but you're basically got my my philosophy and what I'm thinking and why I'm doing certain things right now. So just as long as we got that all kind of covered right now at this point, I got no problem with doing some extra work on my while you guys get a chance to take a look at this. You may have to look at this in two parts. I wanted to get this to you for the weekend rather than the start of the week. But maybe put it off till the weekend. I'll be in touch with John, and me and John will after I get some acknowledgement from you as to how this went over, and then I'll get in touch with John and we'll discuss some things and definitely at the least a phone call now, and hopefully we can get things going in May here. Thanks. Bye.